And I am burdened with glorious mediocrity.
Do you know what?
That being said, I am at the end, as of this episode, I am 2 for 2 on guesses, theories, predictions coming true.
You know what I love about this finale of Loki?
It comes
is
full
that
circle.
It is in no way confusing, that I'm not left with so many questions. You know, it's just super straightforward, and it makes all the sense in the world, and I'm not confused at all. That's what I love about it.
Not only that, it's just like,
I'm being 100% sarcastic.
What? Really?
Yeah, 100%. There's so many confusing things about. Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's
a lot of questions left. There's a lot of questions left. A lot of questions.
I look forward to hearing them, because I don't feel that way. I feel like it wraps things up, and it's fitting and poetic and sad and happy, and like, yeah, this episode does all the things.
Listen, 100%. This is in no way. Hello and welcome to the Movie Men podcast.
We are the B team.
My name's Brady.
And I'm Carl.
And listen, this is in no way.
We're talking about Loki, episode 6. The series finale. Glorious Purpose.
The series finale, you guys.
Which is the series, like the first episode in the series was Glorious Purpose as well. So the series has come full circle, like an Aurora Borealis, or whatever it's called, like an OB.
Whatever that is. This is in no way me shitting on this episode. I love this episode. I think that somehow Marvel pulled a good season of a show out of their ass, like pretty much start to finish.
Yep,
it was good. I don't know what happened. I don't know how that happened.
I seen this great meme of Loki hugging Mobius, and like,
you've done that all season.
You see Loki's back and Mobius's face, and Mobius is like, saying the first panel is Loki saying, "I love you," and above Mobius says fans, and above Loki it says Loki, and then the second panel is like who he's talking to, and it says why am I blanking on the names? I need to bring up the IMDb, so I got them in front of me. Cynthia, it's a female Loki.
Sylvie,
and Sylvie's face has got the Daredevil Netflix series image slapped on it.
Yeah.
And it's like Loki's actually kind of still saying, I still love you too, but I love this now too. It's essentially saying this series is as good and potentially better than the Netflix Daredevil series, which for me is like pinnacle of Marvel production so far. TV
even
show.
though it wasn't Marvel, but
yeah,
you know, there's that.
No, but it still was. Was, but it wasn't. It was kind of like Fox Marvel, but
wasn't the MCU. Had nothing to do with Kevin Feige and, you know, all that stuff. So yeah, this episode starts out and we get a reversed logo. Did you notice that?
What? We did? The Loki logo?
The Marvel, the bump with the pages turning, and then you see all the characters and the whatever, and then it turns into the Marvel logo. It plays in reverse. It goes back in time.
Oh, like the images, instead of kind of going forward, they go back.
Like if you take that whole 30-second sequence with the comic book pages starting to flip, and then the letters start to appear, and the whatever else that appears before every single Marvel property, it's like someone took it, put it into video editing software, and just reversed it so that it plays backwards and ends, instead of beginning with the comic book pages flipping, it ends with it. It starts with the logo in full view.
I see. That's cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I did,
and I caught it the first time, and Brienne didn't catch it, and so we had to like pause it and go back and
watch a different episode.
And yeah, well, I did. I pulled up a different episode. I was like, "Look, this is what it's supposed to look like." Yeah, so it was a whole thing.
That's cool.
So it starts out. This episode starts out, and it's not clear immediately at first that your prediction is correct.
I'll get to where my prediction is. You know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So at first, it seems like Loki's destination or his plan, and at first it is the plan.
Yeah.
Right? Your prediction comes true as like a default, a means of like, wow, we've tried everything else.
This is still like... Okay, let's just move on. We'll get to the prediction when it gets there. Let's leave that until it comes up.
So Loki, who at the end of the last episode is like, well, I'm going to time slip out of here, right?
Yeah.
And he time slips to the moment before, the minutes before Victor Timely's timely demise.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. No.
Huh? And he shows up, and at first, the first time he shows up here, he doesn't do anything differently.
No, he
right?
Just lets
he is there
out.
On a fact. He's just scoping it out. He's going to wait for everything to go to hell, and then he's going to ask Obi, what could we have done differently?
Yeah.
Right? What did we do wrong here? And Obi says, we just weren't fast enough. He's like, I don't know. There's too much radiation. We just weren't fast enough.
Essentially saying we needed more time.
Well, no, at first he just says we needed to be faster.
Right. No, but by saying that, he's saying we needed more time. We needed to be faster. We needed more time. But essentially we need more time, which is funny because I think that's kind of the implication here. And Loki's like, well, I got lots of time.
Yeah, but there is an important distinction because Loki realizes later on that it, like right now, Loki is fixating on the word faster.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And so he goes, all right, again, faster. And he
jumps back to that same
goes
point
back to that same moment and shows up and is like rushing him, right? Yeah. He's like, okay, Victor.
Explaining everything a lot quicker.
Yeah. He's like, when the doors open, get down the gangway as fast as you can, load the multiplier, hit the green button, launch it, and get back. Okay? Okay.
Go,
and he's like,
go,
perfect.
Go.
Let's keep moving. Let's go faster this time. And Mobius goes, this time? Right? Like Mobius catches that and he's like,
yeah.
Huh? And so Victor Timely goes out and he gets obliterated. And Loki comes back and he goes, okay, get in, get suited up, get down the gangway, load the multiplier, hit the green button, launch it, and get back. Keep moving. Go a little faster this time. And Mobius is like, this time? And at this point, I'm in hysterics. Like, I am like, this is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And so they keep going over and over and over, and it's like not fast enough. And that's when he realizes,
yeah, I need to go
not faster, earlier.
Yeah. We need more time. We
need more time. And so that's when this time he time slips into like when Victor Timely first arrives in the TVA. Right, and they're in that like the courtroom, judgy room, whatever. Miss Minutes is still there.
Not quite first. This is a little bit. This is after they capture him. So this is after they kind of explain the plan and then the hot chocolate thing, and then this is that moment now. So he breaks into Ravonna Renslayer and Miss Minutes' little abduction scene.
Yeah, and he breaks in and he's like, "Hey, Miss Minutes, sorry, I know you're all upset and everything, but we need your help in." Finishing the throughput multiplier, right? Like we got to go now. And so they literally like arm in arm carry Victor Timely through the halls.
I almost think the scene after this that they're dragging is like a different jump.
Right.
Because it's not Miss Minute, it's not Ravonna or the hunter guy that's dragging him. It's what's his name?
Casey.
Yeah, it's Casey that's helping drag him, which he wasn't in the room, right? So
no.
And then there's another, then it kind of jumps again and they're back in the
Oh, he was in the room, but he was in his prison garb.
Casey?
And so, yeah. Right? Because Casey had escaped from Alcatraz. No, wait. No, that's not right.
He wasn't.
No,
like,
no,
I'm looking
no.
at
I'm
it.
confusing timeline.
There's just, yeah. Because after that, it's Casey and him are dragging him down through the hall. And then after that, it jumps back to the
it's X5
room,
or whatever.
and he's like tapping on the railing. And so I think like each of these cuts is like a different time he jumped back.
Oh, I think so.
Just kind of because essentially what we're getting into, and it plays it up even more
montage.
Later. We're in the Groundhog Day kind of scenario.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Right? Absolutely. And
but
I think they're just kind of playing at that with all these cuts. Every time it cuts, it's another time he jumped back.
Yeah, we get a fast montage of the Groundhog Day loop, right?
Yeah.
Where he's going again, faster, again. Okay, faster, let's go. Sooner. Faster. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go. Faster. And no matter what they do, every time that happens, Victor still gets disintegrated. So now he's like, okay, we need more time. And so then he goes back to the first introduction of Victor Timely to Obi.
When they first get him to the TVA,
Yeah, and he goes, Victor Timely, this is Ouroboros. Guess what? The TVA handbook, you both wrote it together. Isn't that amazing?
Then he goes and drags out the model.
Yeah, it's like, Loki, why are you being so weird? And he drags out the model, and Ouroboros is like, hey, like, sorry, it's not painted. It's only got one coat of paint, blah, 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 which is a really fantastic Back to the Future reference, right? Sorry, I didn't have time to make the model to scale. And Marty's like, it looks great, Doc. Like, it's a super detailed, way above the top model.
Then Loki's like, you're going to volunteer. This is going to be you. It looks like him, but it's actually you.
Yeah. And so they go through all this and they get him out and they do it. And it still doesn't it still doesn't work.
Yeah.
And hang on, I'm just skipping through the.
Yeah, the scene goes on for a bit. He pulls the prototype out of his bag, and he's like, "What are you doing in there?" And
what are you doing? And blah blah blah. This is what you're going to use. They get him out. This time, when he gets out onto the gangway, he doesn't instantly disintegrate, which is fantastic.
Before it gets there, like this scene actually takes a bit longer than all the rest of them because it's a different point. He fully explains the plan to everybody without Obi. But Obi, he's explaining the plan and about how the rings need to get bigger. And Loki comes to the realization he needs more information to be able to figure this stuff out. And he asks Obi how long it'll take him to know everything about the loom that he knows. And Obi's like, you need to know theoretical physics.
Oh, right. Yes, I skipped this.
How long's that going to take? Centuries.
Centuries. and then in this stroke of genius, the screen goes black and it says centuries later.
Yes. Yeah.
And that is a moment that in this episode is skimmed by so quickly, right? Like it's just a quick little moment. But when you really stop and think about the implications of it meant that Loki for the next couple 100 years was in this loop.
Yeah. Not just 100, not 1 century, centuries. It's plural. He's been doing it. Yeah. Which for him, like he's already how many thousands of years old, like he's an Asgardian god. So like for him, it's not that big a deal.
Well,
probably,
it's still a
big commitment.
it's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. It's not like he's gonna die soon now as a result, but it's still hundreds of years. And has he slept?
Yeah.
Or is he just doing this?
I think you get into the sleeping thing. Like, does he even need to sleep at this point with the time jumping? He's jumping back into a body that has rested and ate and
right, but his mental exertion.
Yeah.
Right? The fact that he's not completely insane. And so then we cut forward and all of a sudden he is the astrophysics, temporal. He is the expert in the room.
He's, instead of explaining everything to everybody in Obi's room, he's pretty much just dragged them without explaining to the loom. He's explaining everything on the way. And essentially, we get we get to where he was trying and failing and at the beginning of the episode, and now we're several, I don't know how long it was between this point and that point, but if you know what I mean.
Yep.
Time. But he's still kind of doing the quick abbreviated explanation for everybody else's sake because time is of the essence.
And
he knows everything's going to work and how to work it.
And you can tell that he's done this so many times because the notes that he's giving to Victor Timely are, remember, tape this part, and make sure this thing's done up.
Yeah,
and
don't put it down; it'll roll off.
Don't stop or you'll die, and don't set it down on the gangway or it'll roll off. Right, like all these things that have clearly happened.
Yeah.
And then he makes it and does it, and everyone goes, oh, "It's working." Obi's like, "It's working. It's doing it." And at first it appears as though it is working, but then it's not working. And Victor is the one that kind of figures this out. Like once he's back in the room and they're all like, oh no, what's happening? Like, it looks like this is still crumbling. And Loki's Loki is baffled by this because he's looking at the computer. He's like, that's not possible. He keeps hitting the button to reload the data.
Yeah. He's a theoretical physicist now, so he knows that should be working according to his calculations.
and Victor figures it out. Victor says these timelines it's a scaling issue. Like, these timelines are constantly branching at an infinite rate. Yeah. Like, they're
they're not only branching from the main timeline now, the branches are branching from themselves. Right. And those branches that are branching. Everything's branching off of itself. Yeah.
And so basically, no matter what we do, there will always be, it'll never be big enough.
Yeah. Now that without pruning the branches, the loom will never be able to keep up.
And this is, I think this is where I'm going to bring it up. One of the issues, one of the confusing things, or one of the plot holes about this season. Why is it that sometimes, like when we see all this happening, right? Loki's time slipping, he's time slipping back into the body of a younger version of himself. And there's several questions. A, is it kind of like a possession? Like, what happens to the consciousness of the Loki in that time that he's jumping to? Right? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. The breakdown I watched kind of used a term for it. I didn't write it down or remember what it is, but like it's a known kind of you could call it a trope, I guess, a time travel movie trope, or it's or you could look at it as a like a theoretical physicist timing a time kind of thing. Right, like an Ouroboros, right? It's a known time travel possibility thing. And it's kind of like butterfly effect, right? Like the consciousness moves back and essentially possesses that body in that time and space with all the current memories from where you jumped.
Right.
But what happens to the body there? I guess there any number, like it could just continue to exist as if he never left. Essentially, because you could just jump back to it at that point in time or whatever. But
that doesn't work because when in the past when we've seen Loki time slip, like his body's physically leaving that place.
In the past, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So like this time slipping seems to be a little bit different. So I don't know. I don't know.
Because that's the other thing. Why is it that all of a sudden when Loki time slips, he's time slipping into bodies of previous Lokis? Presumably every time he does this also, like the fact that the loom's getting so damn big, there's so many timelines now, is partially Loki's fault, having spent hundreds of years creating a new timeline every 20 minutes.
That is a good point. Yeah.
Right? A lot of this is his fault.
But also, why is it point? Because it's like the problem is infinitely.
It exists anyways.
What's the mathematical term for it's compounding?
Yes, it is. It's growing exponentially. Mm-hmm. But why is it also now that when Loki, like they've kind of retconned their own rules here, because when Loki time slips back into the body, why is it now that that's how it works as opposed to there being two Lokis in one place at the same time?
Maybe it has to do with the mastery of the ability, because we really only see it do that since he's mastered it.
Which also took, that was the other thing. He went from, I don't know how this works, to being an expert at it. In the blink of an eye.
I wouldn't say that, but...
Well, what do you mean? Like, he doesn't know how it works, and now all of a sudden, as soon as he figures it out...
I wouldn't say he's a master of it until later in this episode.
Well, he's enough of a master of it that he can go wherever he wants. He's figured out
how to jump times, how to control it, how to do it. It'd be the same thing as like going from not knowing how to ride a bike to knowing how to ride a bike to knowing how to do BMX tricks on a bike.
Right, but part of that BMX trick is the fact that he's now all of a sudden able to just possess a body as opposed to having two instances of Loki appear in the same place.
Yeah, I think that's just, I would say that's just a matter of just being able to consciously do it. That, or the other thing would be like, suspend your disbelief, quit being a jerk.
It's a little convenient for the sake of progressing the story. We're
talking about time travel and time looms and all kinds of crap. I mean, you give
right. No, for sure. And I agree 100%. However, you still need to, like, when you're putting together, if you're writing a show, your mentality in writing that show and in explaining your time travel can't be, it doesn't matter, just watch. Right? Like, you still have to build into it some logic. Right?
That's one of the things. Logic. There's enough logic there for me. I think you're just being nitpicky. Okay.
Well, you're a simpleton. No, I'm kidding. Well, anyways. So then he realizes that the only option is to prevent the timelines from branching in the first place by going back and preventing the killing of He Who Remains.
Yeah, he needs to stop the problem where it originally started, and that's when He Who Remains died.
And this is the point where none of what's going on in the current phase of the MCU any longer makes sense to me. At all. So what is, like... What is the difference between branching timelines? Explain to me. Somebody explain to me, for the love of God. What is the difference between the multiverse and all of these branching timelines?
Yeah. I have a hard time deciphering between the two myself. Because it seems to me that from what we get in the Avengers, Endgame, Loki, even Ant-Man,
and Spider-Man No Way Home.
No, is vastly different than Spider-Man No Way Home and Doctor Strange in kind. Right. Because you got to loop Doctor Strange's Multiverse of Madness in with Spider-Man, because they're follow one right after the other. Because when Doctor Strange travels through the multiverse because of America Chavez, those universes are not necessarily branching timelines. Like when they fall through the multiverse and one of the universes is paint, everything is paint.
Yeah.
One of the universes, everything is little cubed bits of people. Like, that doesn't seem like a branch timeline.
Right.
So,
but I mean, neither does a timeline where Loki is an alligator.
That seems to me to be a little bit more branch timeline than universe of paint.
How does Odin...
A spell went wrong. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like, maybe what's happened and maybe what we're doing is we're not... The writers of the shows and movies that I mentioned that are kind of within the branch timeline kind of theory versus the multiverse theory, that we're trying to bridge a gap here between those kind of two theories of what's going on in the MCU. Is that the one side isn't exploring the others, isn't exploring it itself enough to show us that it is the same as the other. The Loki TV show is not exploring branch timelines enough to show that a timeline of paint exists.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or vice versa somehow. So like, and maybe the Loki Gator is kind of supposed to allude to that there's a universe where all heroes and villains and everybody is just animals. There's an animal timeline where humans didn't evolve, but animals did. I don't know. So
the Loki series makes a distinction between timeline and universe. In the first episode, Miss Minutes explains that the all-knowing timekeepers emerged, bringing peace by reorganizing the multiverse into a single timeline, the sacred timeline. However, that doesn't mean that there is no longer a multiverse. The Ancient One in Doctor Strange says this universe is only one of an infinite number, worlds without end. Some benevolent and life-giving, others filled with malice and hunger, dark places where powers older than me lie, or older than time lie, ravenous, and waiting. Now, maybe Doctor Strange takes place before He Who Remains creates the one sacred timeline, yet we've seen the TVA monitor and prune branches that take place long before the events of Doctor Strange. Well, He Who Remains did explain that time loops. So maybe he created the TVA in a time loop that occurs after the loop. Now, see, this is just confusing me further.
Yeah. The Miss Minutes thing brings some potential clarity to it, and that there are different universes, but different, and each universe has its own kind of timeline, potentially, maybe.
Different timelines within that universe.
Yeah.
right? Like, is this timeline
that's the only
branch,
way I could. That's based on the information we know and what you've just read. That's the only way I could wrap my head around it.
Like, is this explosion of specific to Earth 616?
You would assume so, with the exception of what Mobius says near the end.
Universes are different realities where this seems to make maybe a little more conciseness. Universes are different realities where the character, their story, their fates change. Their fates changes? Well, maybe if this person knew how to write. In a universe, Iron Man isn't Tony Stark, but maybe Steve Rogers. In a universe, Loki is a male. In another, he's a female. And even in other universes, Loki is a crocodile. Okay, so it's saying that's other universes. Every universe before Loki's events, the show Loki, had one unique timeline. Every universe had one unique timeline. But after the TVA stopped destroying time branches, the universes formed more timelines. A different timeline is where the character of that universe has done something different. For example, Loki decided to remain okay.
So are they saying?
But remember, every universe has its law and every character has its destiny.
Right.
Loki will die by Thanos' hand in one way or another, sooner or later. If not, so it will create an absolute point. That is a point where something didn't go accordingly to the story of the timeline, so it gets changed to look similar to another universe. This will eventually make the universe corrupted and eventually get destroyed.
So the sacred timeline, by my understanding of what you're saying then, and if you hear this different, what you've read differently, then please enlighten us. But I'm hearing that the sacred timeline is the chosen, essentially, timeline for several multiverses.
I mean, yeah. Like, so the way I'm understanding
each universe is being woven together into the sacred timeline. Even though they're different timelines, they're all following a similar chosen path. Excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, these. So the way I'm understanding this, and I'm going to read one more and then kind of amalgamate both of those into my understanding of this. And these are just a couple jackasses on Quora with a few upvotes. Like, this is not. Yeah. This is not. The person says, because the question was, is a timeline the same as a universe in the MCU? The person says yes and no. There are and always were infinite parallel dimensions or universes. Being parallel, they never actually cross or intersect, though certain gifted individuals can perceive them. So we understand that as what the Ancient One explains.
Yeah,
right.
And what American Chavez can do.
Yeah, there has always been an infinite number long before time even existed. Okay, great. So we're on board there so far. Right. Timelines can branch, effectively forming a new universe from the nexus point, the decision or action or event that caused the branch. Universes formed by a timeline branch tend to be similar, but for minor details. Completely alternate realities tend to be naturally separate universes. For example, the anthropomorphic animal universe where Howard the Duck originated. Oh, okay. Makes sense so far?
Yeah, so I think, it's saying what I was saying about, like, the loom isn't just weaving 616.
Yeah, so there's one. There's one more paragraph.
It's weaving all the universes.
Instability in the fabric of the universe, as was triggered by the destruction of our universe's infinity stones. Okay, reread this. Instability in the fabric of the universe, as was triggered by the destruction of our universe's infinity stones, may lead to the formation of rifts and portals, which will facilitate transit between universes. Which may be why American Chavez can do what she can do. It's because the infinity stones were destroyed. I don't know. Such portals are generally unstable, however, and may well result in extra-dimensional visitors being permanently stranded here. Okay, so either way, my understanding of that, based on the first one, is that they've always existed.
Yeah.
And each one of them has had each one of them have been a part of. They're all on the sacred timeline.
Yes. And the TVA is in charge of pruning every universe and keeping them in line.
Yes. And so, because what can happen is someone can, for whatever reason, we don't know why this happens, but something can happen. In our instance, it was due to the Avengers messing with time travel, putting something in a place that it was not supposed to be. Something can happen in that universe where time does not go at an absolute point, a point that matters, that is always supposed to happen no matter what.
Right.
And if something prevents that or alters that, it branches, effectively creating a new universe, but not a proper new universe, right? Like it's very similar to a new universe, but it's actually because it's just one thing that's gone differently. Yeah, there's going to be some differences, but it's also very similar to that original universe, right? It's very similar. Loki is still Loki, and Tony Stark is still Iron Man, and Steve Rogers is still, and so on and so forth. And those timelines, those branches tend to be somewhat unstable, though, and can cause some chaos and havoc and whatever else. Which, okay, so now, and I don't know that that's official. But that version of this makes sense to me. Except I still don't understand then how all of that and the loom, the securing of the sacred timeline. Well, no, so I guess
the loom is pulling in all the universes,
right? But what I'm saying is I don't
branches.
understand how that prevents a Kang war. But I guess it makes sense if the Kangs, because all the Kangs that we saw in the post-credit scene of Quantumania look like Jonathan Majors.
Right.
Which means they're not truly Kangs from the multiverse, from other universes. They're not Kangs from the other universes that the Ancient One is talking about. They are the branched timeline Kangs.
They're variants that somehow didn't end up
They're
in the
variants.
And the pruned area.
I guess maybe. Do you see what I mean though? This is This is why this is all so stupidly confusing to me, and why ultimately the MCU failed by trying to introduce both of these concepts into the same.
This is what I was saying 2 episodes ago. They should have ended it. That's what the ending should have been.
But it still wouldn't have made sense. We still would have looked back on it.
Yeah, you just blow it all up and you start fresh.
Yeah. So anyways, getting back to our
which
thing.
They almost kind of do still, but they don't.
So then he goes back. Loki now goes back to the whatever that is.
The Sylvie fight.
Yeah. What is his place? The time chamber.
It's
or whatever?
Like the season finale of the second last episode, essentially, of season 1.
To He Who Remains' his hideout is where they go, and we enter another Groundhog Day time loop montage of him trying to stop Sylvie from killing He Who Remains, and he's not real good at it.
He Who Remains keeps in her mind.
And He Who Remains keeps dying. Like, she keeps getting the upper hand, mostly because he's going a little bit easy on her. He doesn't want to kill her.
Yeah.
Right? He doesn't want to kill her. And then there's a moment where He Who Remains freezes the moment, freezes Sylvie. and they have a discussion. Loki and He Who Remains has a discussion. I'm just going to call him Kang. Loki and Kang have a discussion.
Well, it's funny. Like, they're in the middle of a fight, and he goes back to where he's like, why do you never try and stop her? Why do you never, like, fight back or something? And
which
this is when He Who Remains goes, oh, this is a
reoccurring moment.
This is not the Loki that first stepped on the elevator with me. This is the Loki who's come back in time.
Yes. And so he freezes Sylvie in time and then, like, removes her from time temporarily.
So or space, removes her from
space or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows?
Time,
who
space,
cares?
Multiverse.
Suspend your disbelief. And they have a conversation about how many times is this going to continue? How many times are you going to let this go on before you just kill her?
Yeah.
Right? Effectively, that's what he's saying. He Who Remains knows all about Victor Timely.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this doesn't quite confirm. I think there's still wiggle room that Victor Timely goes on to become He Who Remains.
Not by the end of this.
No?
No. Not by the end of the show. They set it in pretty firm stone that Victor Timely never learns about time travel, I think.
Right. So how is it that... I guess because I was going to say, how is it that Kang would know that Victor Timely was the one specific Kang? But I guess because he knows that Victor Timely is like that. Both Victor Timely and Loki are from Earth 616, and that is his Kang.
Well, I think it's more that like your question is like, is your question more? How does he make all this happen?
No. My question is, why does Kang, when there's an infinite number of Kangs out there, why does He Who Remains say, so you've met Victor Timely then? Like, why would he know specifically that it's that Kang that's been involved? But the reason would be because Victor Timely is Earth 616's Kang, and so is Loki. Like, Loki is Earth 616's. So if Loki were to go back in time or encounter his universe's Kang, that would be Victor Timely. And that's information that He Who Remains has. And so it just makes sense that that is the Kang.
Yeah, I suppose you could look at it that way. But like, I mean, if you're listening to the episode, there's spoilers are obviously happening. But like,
well, I mean, that's
peeling back the curtain, like Victor Timely in this show learns about time travel and the TVA and how to build TVA devices because Ravonna Renslayer drops the book in his window as a child. We see that moment in time again at the end of this episode.
Except she doesn't drop the book in.
No book is dropped. So what is it, like the 1800s at that point?
Yeah.
Like, can an 1800s Victor Timely create a time travel device without a TVA handbook? Is the question then. That's like, because if Victor Timely can become Kang the Conqueror in the 1800s, he has to be able to create time travel.
Well, not Kang the Conqueror, He Who Remains, because Kang the Conqueror died in... Oh, see, that's the other thing. So then Kang the Conqueror... So are we saying that...
I don't think Victor Timely is the man at the end of time.
Right. Okay, so we'll agree on that, but then is Victor Timely Kang the Conqueror?
No.
Or is Kang the Conqueror from a branched timeline? Because Kang the Conqueror and Victor Timely...
I think Victor Timely has the potential to be a version of Kang, but I don't think he's any version we've met or know of.
Right. So, and I'm just realizing that Victor... Okay, so we've met 3 Kangs.
We've met more than 3 Kangs, technically. Like,
well, no,
we've met a stadium.
We
of
haven't
Kangs.
met them. Yeah, but we haven't met them. We've interacted with 3 Kangs: He Who Remains,
right?
Victor Timely,
kind of.
What do you mean, kind of?
I don't think he's technically Kang at all. Not at any point we interact with
He's
him.
the same person.
I think he has like I said, I think he has the potential.
You know what I mean?
To be
no. You know what I mean. He's the same. He's got the same temporal aura. He's the same.
Okay, he's got the same temporal aura. Okay, yes, right.
And Kang the Conqueror.
Right.
Is Kang what world or universe is... So Victor Timely is or He Who Remains is from wherever. Doesn't matter. He's just some guy. He's outside of time. So it doesn't matter where he's from. But both Victor Timely and Kang the Conqueror, like Kang the Conqueror, that story is firmly rooted in Earth 616.
Right.
A subdimension of Earth 616, the quantum realm. But so where is Victor Timely from then? They can't both be, unless Victor Timely goes on to become Kang the Conqueror. They can't both be. They can't both be Earth 616's Kang.
Yeah. So, yeah, Mobius says at the end that there was an issue with a Kang variant on a 616. He says 616 adjacent timeline. Whatever adjacent means to that.
Realm, I think, or universe.
Yeah,
he says.
But he uses the word adjacent.
Yeah, adjacent dimension, I think.
So,
or something.
The adjacent could mean any number of things. It's not. We don't know what adjacent means. We're throwing out new terminology right at the very end of the film. It's a mess.
F the MCU. F the MCU, man.
It's a mess. It's a mess. They've gotten real messy. They got a lot to clean up.
Pisses me off.
All that being said, we're leading up to my prediction coming true, and that the man at the end of time orchestrated even this.
Well, yeah, and so, okay, and that's going to be, I mean, there's a couple cool things that happen in this discussion, right? Where Victor goes like, oh, is this the first time we've had this discussion? Like, he believes that his deduction is that this is the first time they've had this discussion and
based
blah, blah,
on
blah.
Loki's reaction, yeah.
And then Loki displays that he has now also mastered the ability to freeze time.
Yeah,
and Loki looks at him and says, "What makes you think this is the first time we've had this conversation?" And that's such a friggin' badass moment.
Yeah.
But here's my next question. And maybe I'm just stupid, right? Maybe the MCU's a mess and it doesn't make any sense and they didn't do a good job of explaining anything, or maybe they did and I'm just stupid. But here's my question. Explain to me the whole He Who Remains thing about like his reincarnation bit and how like he had his own failsafe built in where like
this is the failsafe.
Right.
So what stood out to me is when He Who Remains before he stops time, we get like that quick cut from different times Loki tried to stop Sylvie, and every time what are the last words out of He Who Remains' mouth?
See you soon.
I'll see you soon. We assumed like he was talking like, especially after season 1, before this season, like, oh, he's talking to like Sylvie or Sylvie and Loki. He's referring to this however he's going to be reincarnated. He's talking directly to Loki because he knows that Loki is going to eventually time skip to this moment in time. For me, that was like a what? Kind of like a mind-blowing moment.
Right.
Like, oh, this is like they alluded to this moment back at the end of season 1. They were planning for this. Like, He's paved the road. Even this moment, he's planned out. His reincarnation isn't like a rising from the ashes phoenix reincarnation. His reincarnation is paving the way for Loki to be able to time slip back to this moment in time and stop Sylvie. And his plan, his hope, is that Loki will choose to eventually kill Sylvie and join him in running the TVA.
Seems like even the fact that that it all worked out that Loki comes back and does this. It's a bit of a long shot for him.
I mean, he's been at the end of time for we don't know how. Like he's one, he's a genius. Two, he's got time travel, so he can kind of do what Loki's been doing this whole episode. And yeah, three, he's got all kinds of time on his hands because of all those, right? So he's been able to craft this very well. Not perfectly, as we find out, because his plan doesn't happen. Yeah, like I think like part of his plan is for like I think somebody to take his place running the TVA, but it doesn't happen the way he expects it to, I don't think.
Right.
Because his thing is the multiverse is bad, the other Kangs are bad. And what happens is Loki allows the multiverse to exist.
Not the multiverse, the branch timelines, because the multiverse has always existed.
Right.
See, this is where you got to...
But you understand my meaning, though. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so then time resumes. We come back to Loki has a discussion with Sylvie about, basically just saying, like, this is how it has to be done. But then he leaves. And he time slips back to, like, the first episode, or second episode, maybe. No, first episode of the first season.
Yeah.
Where he's sitting and it's like his initial processing and interrogation.
He needs another perspective on the problem.
Yes. And this is a great scene, except they left out a moment or a line or something that should have been done, that should have been included. And so he's sitting there with Mobius and he kind of hijacks the conversation and says, like, I know what this is. I know, you're trying to get this information out of me. You're going to show me the highlights reel of, blah, blah, blah. And Mobius says, okay, like, someone showed you the set list. Like, how are you doing this? And Loki doesn't answer him. He just starts asking questions like, how do you know who to let live and who not to? How do you know you're doing the right thing? How do you know all this stuff, right? And Mobius says, well, it's not up to us. It's up to the timekeepers, blah, blah. And he says, yeah, and I get that. Like, divine, whatever. But it's still you guys doing the pruning.
Yeah, you got to pull the trigger.
And Mobius tells his story. He says, well, a couple years ago, there was a group of hunters that were sent on a mission somewhere near the Black Sea to prune a variant who was going to go on to be responsible for the death of like 5,000 people. And he says, but there was a hiccup. He says, when they got there, the variant was an 8-year-old boy. Just minding his own business, jumping off the dock, swimming in the river with his brother. And the hunter, who had never had an issue pruning before, had never hesitated. And, couldn't do it. And another hunter came along who had a better grasp on the big picture, right? The importance of their mission, and pruned the boy. And his moral is, you always have to keep the big picture in mind. You always have to focus on the big picture. And this is where this scene failed me a little bit, because Loki, through the inflections on Mobius's face, puts together, but I don't think they put enough emphasis on this realization, puts together that he was the hesitant hunter, that Mobius was. And he says, so what happened to your partner who, blah, blah, blah. Like, it basically says, and Mobius doesn't respond at all to that. Like, he responds, he says, oh, she went on to become a judge, blah, 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 revealing that was Ravonna Renslayer.
Right.
But there's no moment given to the fact that Mobius is conceding that it was him. There's no aha moment on Loki's face. There's no nothing. It just goes from, here's a story about two hunters, to Loki saying, so that was you, what happened to, it just, we don't ever dwell on it for even half a second. And I kind of wish we did. I think there's room there for a really humanizing and emotional conversation, and we just skip past that. And I wish we didn't. But then Loki gets up and he shakes the hand of Mobius, says, thank you, my friend, or, whatever. Mobius is a little confused. What the hell is going on here? And Mobius spaghettis, which I guess is just convenient timing. Like, Loki didn't know that this universe was about to spaghetti at that exact moment. So it's just kind of artistic timing.
Yeah, I think this is more of like I don't think the universe probably didn't spaghetti right at that moment. I think this is more just kind of a convenient way to change the scene to the next scene, which is where everything is spaghettiing from last season.
Yeah, so then he goes back to the end of the last episode where he's in Obi's hideout, which looks very, we never talked about this, but it looks it's like the same architecture, same window, same everything as his RNA department at the TVA.
Yeah, I didn't mention that. Yeah.
Maybe you did. I don't know.
It's except for the windows. There's no windows in his other place, because the other place feels like more of a basement, but it's like the same shelving, same shape, kind of circular. So look,
everyone in this universe starts spaghettiing again, as we've seen. And just before Sylvie spaghettis, Loki demonstrates to her that he's now able to freeze time. And she's like, what is going on? And he's like, we're outside of time right now. And he has a conversation with her. He says, look, I've gone back. I've been all around. And the only way to stop this from happening is to stop the timeline branches from starting in the first place. And Sylvie says, by killing me. And Loki kind of, he doesn't say anything. He just kind of stands there, which confirms it. And she's like, well, I'm not going to give you my blessing if that's what you're after here. And it's kind of a heartfelt, and I thought maybe like they come real close and they stand in front of each other. I don't know if I'm glad they didn't. I thought they were going to kiss, because we've seen that they've kind of got like a little bit of a romance going on in the first season. And yeah, they've been estranged here and whatever. But I don't know. I just thought that this was going to be like I'm going back to wipe you from existence. I'm really sorry. Blah, blah, blah. If it's any consolation, you exist in other universes and timelines. I don't know. And then she talks about how she grew up in apocalypses. And if she learned anything from that it's okay sometimes to let things get destroyed. And Loki counters and says, while simultaneously having a bit of a realization, and I don't fully understand what that realization is, that only if there's the hope that something better will grow in its place. And then after having that realization, he time slips back to the control room just outside of the loom where he has spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. God, he can't be excited to be back there. And this time, instead of briefing Victor on what Victor needs to do, he runs down to go do this himself. He's going to go out on
what he's doing is running.
Well, he saunters down.
Yeah, he's walking with kind of some purpose. Yeah.
And I don't understand, like, if it's just because he's a god, or like he walks out onto the gangway at a moment where we know that the radiation is so strong that it's just wiping people from time, spaghettiing them instantly. He walks out with no suit on, no whatever, and seems pretty okay.
Yeah. I chalked this up to two things. One, I think his time slipping control probably helps him here somehow, because it does affect him. And two, I think it's definitely because he's a god. Because this scene, a lot of what happens in this scene mirrors what old man Loki does in season 1.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's like because he's Asgardian, because he's using magic, because he's got now time slipping time powers.
I would put more weight on the time slipping thing, because this isn't just like any energy. This is time energy. And I don't know that being a god really
helps with that.
Helps with time. But he walks out. He puts on, just for showmanship, for no other reason than epic showmanship, he generates onto himself a pretty badass Loki outfit.
Yeah. Allows the suit and tie to be ripped away by the time.
And it's good to see.
Forces. Yeah. Oh, it looks good. Yeah.
It's good to see him in Loki garb again, reminding us that he is Loki, the god of mischief.
Yeah.
And he destroys the loom.
Yep. And it's spaghettis everywhere.
Destroys the loom, and it's spaghettis everywhere, knowing that he's risking the Kang War. But does it anyways. And then it seems like all of the...
But also by doing so, he saves the TVA.
He saves the TVA.
And everyone inside.
Which is a little selfish. He's just saving his friends, putting everyone else at risk. But whatever. And all of the branches seemingly start dying.
Yeah. I think, is it Obi or what the other fella that says that as much?
Casey, I think.
Casey
says they're dying.
Yeah.
And then this is where it's really exciting, beautiful visuals, like maybe the most epic looking sequence in all of the MCU. But it's not really clear what's going on. Like he starts grabbing all of the strands and walks up through this gate to presumably the space. It's got that like multiversal kind of purpley glow to it.
He's creating a rift to the end of time.
Yeah. And then he sits there. I think
that's why he's grabbing the strands, to create that rift.
And then he sits there on a throne, holding all of them. They're all turning green. And then he crosses the streams. And there's like an explosion of green. And now he sits there at the end of time, holding onto these strands of time. And that's the part of the episode at the beginning where I said, I'm left with so many questions. Like, what the hell? What did you just do? Like, what did you do? What effect did that have? How did you do it? And what is now are you now the king of time? Are you the god of time? Like, what is Loki now? And what just happened? Like, it looks epic.
Right.
It looks amazing.
Yeah.
But there's no explanation to what it is or what it means.
So this is, I was, when I first watched this, my impression of what was happening was, okay, the timelines are dying. He's using them to open this rift to the throne at the end of time where he will sit. He's making, because one of the conversations him and the man at the end of time have is like, you either, kill her and let me do the job, or you kill her and you kill me and you do my job, because the TVA needs to exist.
Right.
And this is before it's where he gets the line when he's talking to Sylvie, sacred timeline or nothing. Right. But, and then when he's sitting down with Mobius, the Mobius, what's the line he uses? Glorious purpose. Was it? If there's something about, shoot, I'm not gonna find it. It'll drag this whole episode out. But he's saying like the thing about glorious purpose is that there's a lot of weight that comes with it's more. There it is. I found it while watching here. He says, all because you're another hunter. Outside of the big picture. Say it. Gotta make your mind.
Do it.
Your mind. Here it comes. Most purpose is more burden than glory. So, like, the cool thing about this is the whole time Loki's been fighting to keep the TVA and the sacred timeline alive, is there's a bit of selfishness there because he wants to be with his friends. He doesn't want to be alone. A big part of the first season was Loki's destined to be to always lose and always be alone. And then he finds a place and a home and friends in the TVA. And then season 2 starts. And now he's this last half of this season, he's been fighting to keep his friends around and alive and his home, essentially, his newfound home. And he's chosen the burden of being alone so that his friends can live. Now, all these timelines floating around and he's grabbing at them. I think he's trying to I think he's kind of infusing them with life again. And he's kind of becoming not a loom, but like a connection point for all of them somehow, for some reason. And because I guess they need that. But I watched my breakdown videos, as I do, and they pointed, like, I understood that the imagery that's created here is the tree, right? And I realized immediately that this is Yggdrasil. This is the Norse tree that connects realms. Loki's become Yggdrasil, right? But I think what they're pulling here from the comics is a little bit more than that. And I'm getting that from my breakdown video, where we've seen this Loki before in comics. And I never read these comics. I've heard of them and I've heard about what I'm about to say, but I never read the comics, or I'm not that knowledgeable of it. But apparently there was a point in the comics where Loki, an older version of Loki, went back in time, possessed his younger body, because he didn't want to be evil anymore. He wanted to be the hero. And I don't know how long the story went for, but essentially by the end of the comic, he was no longer Loki, god of mischief. He was Loki, god of stories. And he was kind of in a similar position that he is now, where he was kind of somehow controlling multiverse storylines and kind of helping craft them, or something like that. He was then became the god of stories and not the mischief. And I think that's what they're kind of doing here, where he's the god of kind of stories now instead of mischief.
Right.
And those stories are the timelines of the multiverse. So I think that's kind of what's happening here, I think. All that being said, I think it's a beautiful kind of ending to the character of Loki in the MCU.
Right, and so then that's the question. Was that our send-off for Loki?
Swan
was that
song?
Our Tom Hiddleston goodbye?
Tom Hiddleston has said so. I seen a quote from him recently. Yeah, I seen a quote from him. You might have to Google it, but I know I seen a quote from him somewhere saying that it'll.
Because there was rumors not long ago that we didn't talk about on the news show, but there was talk not long ago that the MCU was planning a Loki, that we were going to see a Loki and Thor reunion on screen, but maybe that was just bupkis.
As a Tonight Show quote. We'll say this: it all comes full circle. It's the conclusion to seasons 1 and 2. It's the conclusion to 6 films and 12 episodes and 14 years of my life. It's the final. There are echoes and resonance of every version of Loki I've played. I've continued. Glorious purpose of the final.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds pretty definitive.
Yeah. How does Loki come back? Like, I suppose when you do Secret Invasion or Secret Wars, you could bring him back somehow, because that's the Secret Wars is like the collapse of the multiverse in the comics. The second iteration of it is the collapse of the multiverse by Doom into one kind of cohesive universe.
So presumably he would no longer be needed.
Yeah,
in that role.
He could come back for something like that, I guess. But man, like, for me, this is like Wanda. This just seems like such a beautiful end to a character's story.
I do, and I agree. I just wish it wasn't such a confusing ending.
Yeah, I would say you could say it's confusing, or you could say it's open to interpretation. And I guess when it's open to interpretation, you can't have that without it being at least a little confusing.
Yeah. So that all happens. We cut back to the TVA now after, it says, and things are back in full swing. The TVA is working in full force. The big change being that A, everyone misses Loki, and B, that they are now on the watch for and ever vigilant for Kangs.
Yeah.
That's a part of their new directive, is to keep an eye out.
Yeah, which is more in line what they are in the comics. Like, in the comics, they're more of a police force for people who are trying to disrupt and abuse timelines and branches.
Yeah.
Than they are to try and keep a single branch in line.
And our show ends with Mobius finally heading off to get some of that sweet slice of apple pie. Key lime pie. And he's gone to, and this is another, it's kind of like, just, don't try to math it out. Don't try to figure out what's going on. He obviously isn't returning to, like, presumably, and this would make sense, if Mobius is a variant, which we know he is, because everyone in the TVA is a variant, then Mobius can't actually go back to his timeline, because his timeline, when he would have been extracted from it as a variant, would have been pruned.
Yeah.
As was TVA protocol.
Yeah.
So he doesn't actually have his own timeline to go back to, which is kind of a sad existence for Mobius now, because all he can do is kind of like from a distance, as to not create mayhem and some sort of paradox, spy in on from a distance other timelines, versions of his life.
Yeah.
And then eventually just go make his own life. Right? Kind of what Sylvie was doing working at McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's nice. It's a nice scene. It's a nice line where Sylvie's like, are you coming? Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? And Mobius says, I think I might just stick here for a while. Let time pass.
Yeah. Something he's never really done.
Not in a very long time. Not in a time that he can remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I'm going to stand here and age a bit.
Yeah.
Man.
Enjoy the moment. Yeah.
And that's the series.
They do a bunch of little scenes here to kind of try and wrap up loose ends, like Victor Timely not getting the TVA book.
Yeah.
OB unveiling a box of
second edition
TVA handbooks that he's...
Because he knows a lot more now, and presumably some of the information out there, like anything pertaining to the loom and everything else, is kind of out of date information now.
Well, yeah, and on top of that, it'd be like new protocols for dealing with certain things, and then we see
probably
Ravonna
a whole chapter
Renslayer.
on Kang.
The Ravonna Renslayer scene is kind of interesting. Like,
she just gets eaten by the monster.
Presumably, yeah, but like she's sitting on the TVA floor plaque. Some grass gets swept away. So it's like, this is some, she's obviously kind of in that pruned end of time. There's a pyramid off to the distance and a sphinx.
Yeah. One of the Giza.
Which, like one of the variants of Kang is a pharaoh, Rama Tut. And that version of Kang's time travel machine is the Sphinx. So there's that there. And Ravonna, as this show is showing, and in the comics, Ravonna Renslayer has got a very tight connection with lots of versions of Kang. So this could be like, we don't see what's coming up on her. It's nice.
She could be a bigger deal moving forward than
it's a nice big purple glow on her face. So that's what the monster, kind of the color that monster gave off. But Kang also gives off a bit, is dressed in purple a lot of the time. So maybe this is a Kang approaching her. But yeah, it's more than likely it's the Beast based on the sounds and stuff. But it's potentially, we don't see her get eaten by it. So this is not necessarily the end of Ravonna. And then the very last scene of the show kind of shows Loki holding the strands. I think he can hear and see into these timelines.
Oh, I'm sure he can.
Kind of like even though he can't be with them, he's kind of with them. So,
and presumably maybe has like some power over them.
Maybe, I don't know if I go that far, but yeah, we don't know the extent of his new powers and abilities as the man who. The god of stories, we'll call it, based on the comics.
But officially, I mean, so I'm going to say your prediction was partly true, because at the end of the day, he who remains no longer remains. We did not end up saving him. He is gone.
Right. But my prediction from an episode or two ago was that he was paving the way for everything we're seeing. And that was true.
That was
until
true.
Loki realized that he could create another way, but it left a lot up to chance and other people's decisions.
Yeah. So, all right. So, this episode, a winner or fail for you?
Oh man, I really like this episode. I didn't feel as confused as you seem to have gotten.
I was
about
very
it all.
confused.
I've allowed myself to suspend disbelief and believe that these things are just possible in this show and universe.
Yeah. See, I just try to make sense of a lot of things. That's part of my enjoyment of something. And sometimes it bites me in the ass because
and I get that. And I do that a lot too. But I feel like, especially with this show, it's harder, and you almost just can't, because, and we've talked about this before with like the Flash and some of the other multiverse timeline shenanigans stuff we've reviewed over the last little while. Anything time travel is just in terms of storytelling, is just messy, and you can easily get nitpicky and easily find plot holes. And, you know, like, as good as Back to the Future is, you could easily get nitpicky and find plot holes in it too, right? It's just the nature. You can deny it all you want, but it's possible. And like, yeah, writing time travel stuff is just, tricky.
Yeah, that's why people shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But
just leave damn well enough no.
So it was a win for you.
Yeah, oh yeah, this was definitely a win. The whole series was a win. I definitely feel like that meme that I mentioned. I feel like this is hands down one of the best Marvel TV shows we've had ever. And what did you think about it, as I asked tentatively?
It was a win. Yeah, like I mean, I spent a lot of the episode confused, but I was having a blast the whole time regardless.
Right.
So I was having a lot of fun. I just didn't always understand, like, you know, I'm sitting there trying to make sense of 2 and 2, and it didn't always work. So season 2 of Loki, scale of 0 to 10.
Oh man, it's like 8.59 easy. Yeah.
Well, which is it?
9. I'll give it a 9.
Okay.
It blew me away. Yeah.
All right.
It blew me away so hard I got all spaghettified.
Gross.
What did you think of it?
Yeah, I'd give it an 8.5. Yeah. I think it was really good. Eon's better than the first season.
Oh yeah. And Eon's better than a lot of what we've gotten from Disney.
Oh yeah. And I didn't dislike the first season, but this was just a jump.
It took it to the next level. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That'll do it for our Disney Plus Loki season 2 review series. Super exciting. In a couple of weeks, we have our review coming of the Marvels. So keep an eye out for that. And what is our next? I'm just curious. I'm just looking up. I think I know the answer. But no, I was incorrect. Our next MCU show series review will be What If Season 2.
Oh, yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, followed by Echo.
That I don't give a crap.
Followed by Agatha the Darkhold Diaries.
A little bit more interested in that, I guess.
And Ironheart.
I'm not interested in that.
Daredevil Born Again.
Yes, please give me more.
Spider-Man Freshman Year.
Sure, yeah, that sounds fun. I take that.
Marvel Zombies.
Yes, please. Yeah, that looks cool. Yeah.
And then maybe in there, depending on, we haven't decided yet, but after Echo, there is the possibility that we could do the X-Men 97 series. So.
Oh.
But you would have to largely take the reins on that, because you are hands down
like
the X-Men aficionado.
Like rewatch the entire 90s stuff, or
no,
like
the
just
new
start
show.
The new stuff. The new show picks up from the old one. Does it not?
How many? Probably. Hang on.
I don't know if I want to commit to that. That's a lot.
Hang on. No. I mean, we would just pick up where the new one. Yeah. Because I was like, we didn't do season 1 of Loki, right? But it would be on me to get caught up on my own time.
All right. We can talk about this later. Wrap it up.
5 seasons. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you check out our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all listed below. We have a Patreon page for as little as $1 a month. $1 a month. It's kind of like $1 a beer. But better.
Mm-hmm.
You can support the show and get some fun perks in return, including exclusive content and increased voting power when Pete and I sit down to review a film that you voted on. And
did I vote it on?
No, sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes I do.
Yeah. And we have merch.
Yeah. Merch! We need some new merch.
I know, you said that. Yeah.
I said that before. I'm saying it again because I think we need some new merch. We need more new merch. But I think the last new thing was the Empire spooning everyone's soup.
I mean, that was the newest design. Yeah, we released a couple of new like apparel items with just the Movie Men logo on it. But yeah, got to get up to it. So yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
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 Uh-huh.